Наши цены лучше и доступнее всех в индустрии. Наш новый филиал в городе Ричфилд в штате Вашингтон уже открыт и набирает студентов. Занятия проходят с понедельника по пятницу с 8 утра до 4:30 дня. Наша программа – это 4-недельный курс по 40 часов в неделю. Инструкторы проводят обучение на русском и английском языках. Приглашаем беженцев на обучение даже без разрешения на работу. Есть финансовая помощь для беженцев и людей с ограниченным доходом. После обучения предлагаем работу в компании Starline Carriers. Звоните прямо сейчас. 253 245 91 28. 253 245 91 28.
Внимание! Редакция медиахолдинга Slavic Family не несет ответственность за содержание рекламных сообщений и авторских программ.
Новости региона, выборы, кандидаты, стремления. Новая программа Slavic Vote Live. Каждую неделю в прямом эфире. Slavic Vote Live дает голос славянской общине по всему северо-западу. Мы говорим и информируем о важном в Вашингтоне, Орегоне, Калифорнии. По четвергам в 17:00. Присоединяйтесь к прямому эфиру на 10:40 АМ. Ищите Slavic Vote в соцсетях. Мы намерены продолжать продвигать свое видение и оказывать любую необходимую поддержку сообществу, чтобы изменить ситуацию к лучшему. Slavic Vote Live.
Добрый день, меня зовут Дима Сашенко. Вы слушаете передачу Slavic Vote Live. Мы очень рады быть на этих волнах, как обычно, на Slavic Family. И у нас, как обычно, сегодня передача. У нас очень интересные гости сегодня, очень интересная тема. Как обычно, мы говорим по поводу выборов, по поводу голосования. И разговариваем с разными интересными людьми, которые в этом уже деле находятся и давно, чтобы нас немножко информировать, нас немножко обучить, как все это работает. С нами сегодня Ярослава нет, у нас сегодня Лиля Жукова. Лиля, как у тебя сегодня дела?
Прекрасно, как у тебя, Дима?
Хорошо, спасибо за то время, что ты уделила прийти с нами сегодня пообщаться и с нашими гостями.
Я?
А какие у тебя новости? Есть какие-то новости, что-то интересное? Ты всегда занята?
Yes. I think мы начинаем, и я думаю, мы придем еще на программу с моей командой о том, что мы начинаем работу с грантом для украинцев. Будет очень интересно для Вашингтона, конечно, не для Орегона, но хотя бы какое-то начало, то мы придем еще, сделаем отдельную программу и расскажем, какая помощь и где ее, как можно получить.
Да, конечно. Да, оставайтесь с нами в будущем, мы будем больше говорить о разных программах, о разных сервисах, разных таких интересных помощи для украинских, как говорится, беженцев. И вот у нас, конечно, мы сегодня не об этом, мы сегодня с нашими гостями пообщаемся по поводу их интересной истории. У них, конечно, есть интересная история, они американцы, они также балансируются, наш один из гостей балансируется на представителя школьного директора и также председателя того комитета в городе Ньюберг, это недалеко от Портленда, и вот мы немножко с ним поговорим, у него очень интересная история, я думаю, многим понравится его история и, в общем, как они прошли через разные такие, даже не знаю, как сказать, война или бой, путь в Ньюберг школе, о которой мы немножко больше поговорим. Конечно, как обычно, мы напоминаем, что у нас проходят сейчас выборы, правильно ли?
Да, в Орегоне.
Сейчас у нас в Орегоне, как обычно, каждый год проходят какие-то выборы, и в этом году проходят также школьные выборы.
Да.
Называется Special Elections или School Board Elections. И вот у нас на этих бюллетенях есть разные школьные представители, есть также некоторые законы, как measures, да, и также есть некоторые такие специальные позиции, которые нужно будет перебрать кого-то по какой-то причине. И вот, я знаю, Малтнома есть некоторые такие люди и так далее. И вот мы об этом поговорим. Мая 16 я думаю, вы все или записали уже, или знаете, что мая 16 это проходят выборы. Это последний день, где вы можете заполнить ваш бюллетень и завести на избирательный участок. Вы уже не сможете отослать. Я думаю, даже сегодня уже поздно, если вы сегодня получили.
Один пятница был последний.
Да, значит, завтра последний день получается, но я советую все равно.
Ту пятницу, да. Уже все поздно, да.
Да, уже мы не советуем отсылать по почте. Вы легче всего просто завести на избирательный участок, или вы можете также завести на Dropbox. Потому что я знаю, вот библиотеки имеют Dropbox,
школы.
Также школы некоторые места, которые вы можете набрать на интернете и узнать, какие места имеют эти Dropbox. Это вот самое лучшее. А я лично завожу напрямую на избирательный участок, отвожу им, даю в руки. И самое важное, они, чтобы удостоверили, что моя роспись подходила. Правильно, Лилия? Лилия, можешь объяснить, почему важно расписаться очень правильно?
Потому что они, во-первых, не засчитают твой бюллетень и твой голос, и если ты не успеешь сделать поправку или они тебе не успеют отправить письмо, то есть твой голос полностью не посчитается, и получается то время, которое ты уже потратил, просто уйдет в ветер.
Да. Каждый год я знаю, что многие люди просто не считаются их голоса, потому что они не расписали правильно.
Да, и они... Что такое правильно расписаться? Это та же самая роспись, которая или в избирательной службе, или та, которую ты когда лайсенс получал.
Да.
Как бы они берут из тех систему, которую они смотрят.
И также, если вы имеете, может быть, разные такие похожие росписи, вы можете даже приехать на избирательный участок и дать им второй, третий вид вашего росписи.
Да.
Такое есть. И вот я знаю, что я пару раз сделал так, чтобы просто на всякий случай, чтобы все подходили росписи. Так как у меня почти такая же самая, но бывает, там чуть-чуть изменяется, да. И вот очень важно, если вам это не просто так, я советую вам это тоже сделать. Самое главное, просто завезите, отдайте, они проверят и подсчитают. Я знаю, каждый год, в прошлом году очень много тоже росписей не
у вас в
подходило.
Орегоне же есть text notification,
да?
Да,
в Орегоне, да, это хорошо, потому что и вы можете получить text-месседж, что ваш бюллетень подписан.
То есть, если вы не получили его, то, значит, нужно обратиться, позвонить или пойти.
Да, но также очень важно сначала подписаться на эту программу, потому что не все подписаны, нужно как сделать opt-in, чтобы вы дали разрешение, чтобы
получить.
получать. И многие люди не знают об этом. То есть, если вам это интересно, знать, когда бюллетени высылаются, когда получают, когда они получили ваши бюллетени, когда подсчитали ваши бюллетени, это все могут вам текст-месседжем разослать.
Nice.
И очень, очень удобно, да.
Yeah,
в Вашингтоне еще такого нету, но у вас есть другая фишка. У вас можно голосовать.
У нас можно просто посмотреть, если твой бюллетень пришел.
Да.
И все.
Но также у вас можно приехать на последний день, ни разу не регистрироваться.
Да,
и можно
до 8 вечера. Да. Есть плюсы и минусы в каждом штате.
Да. У нас, конечно, к сожалению, уже, если вы нас слушаете, не получали ваши бюллетени, вы, может, сегодня захотели проголосовать, вы, к сожалению, поздно уже голосовать в этих выборах, но мы все равно советуем, зарегистрируйтесь.
Потому что следующее недалеко.
Следующее, да, потому что у нас в этом году еще будут выборы в Орегоне, также в Вашингтоне и так далее. А если вы живете в Вашингтоне и нас слушаете, вы еще можете зарегистрироваться. Я советую просто сегодня...
До августа у нас.
Я советую, если нас услышали, сразу регистрируйтесь. Очень просто, вы можете зайти на наш веб-сайт slavicvote.org. Там есть кнопочка, где вы можете нажать и зарегистрироваться к вашему штатам. Если вы живете в другом штате, там есть пара выборов. И вот это очень легко, очень быстро, и вы можете проголосовать на следующих выборах. Это очень важно. Очень важно. Я знаю, что... Можешь ли еще повторить, какие у нас сейчас кандидаты, которые мы видим в Орегоне примерно?
Дима, ты больше за Орегон знаешь, чем я.
Правильно, да.
Я даже последние выборы, если честно, сама пропустила.
Значит, можешь повторить важность этих школьных избирателей?
Например, особенно для наших славяне, это когда мы говорим о том, что мы беспокоимся о том, что происходит в публичных школах, о том, что происходит, какое обучение, какой настрой, кто этим ведет, да, это совет директоров школьные, это ОСПА, это высшие, это уже штатовские позиции, но локально, да, в наших городах это совет директоров каждой школы. То есть, если вам что-то не нравится, у вас какие-то претензии или вам не нравится, куда идет сфера обучения, это ваша возможность перевыбрать того человека, который сейчас решает, как и где обучать, и насколько, и какая программа.
Да, это очень важно. И вот я советую, если вам не нравится, что происходит в школах, голосуйте, поощряйте ваших друзей, ваших родственников, чтобы все голосовали. И мы верим, что если наше славянское общество, если мы все голосовали бы, можно сказать, даже хотя бы как минимум там 50, 70, 80%, много чего можно было бы изменить.
Да, и еще хотела бы сказать, даже если у вас ребенок в приватной школе, во-первых, это ура для вас, потому что не все могут позволить себе это, но это не означает, что вы сидите и просто наблюдаете, как все остальное. Да, потому что то, что сегодня происходит в публичных школах, не означает, что оно завтра не будет в приватных, да. Потому что завтра губернатор или школы локальные выйдут и скажут губернатору, что мы хотим, чтобы эта программа была во всех школах, включая чартерс и приватные. И где ваша охрана? Нигде. То есть куда вы побежите, больше некуда бежать. То есть быть приватной школой, это не означает, что вы на этот момент, да, вы, может быть, как-то отошли и можете своего ребенка оградить, но это не означает, что оно завтра не изменится.
Но еще важно тоже, что ваши таксы
Налоги.
платят налоги, все это платит за это все.
Да.
И вот ваши деньги платят за эти все, что
Только
происходит.
если вы забираете ребенка в homeschool, тогда ваши деньги уходят с вашим ребенком.
Да, но в Орегоне вроде бы такого еще... Я знаю, в Орегоне чуть по-другому, но мы больше узнаем у наших гостей сегодня, как все это работает, и точнее их историю. И вот мы перейдем сейчас на наших гостей. Я хочу быстренько напомнить, только если вы нас слушали уже пару недель, мы начали напоминать насчет очень интересной теме, очень интересной программе. Лиля, можешь немножко рассказать про эту программу?
Ты имеешь в виду за
Да,
помощь для аренды?
помощь, да. Мгм.
Да, то есть в Кларк-Каунти, это округе Кларк, есть сейчас программа, называется «Помощь для аренды». Что это означает? Это означает, что если вы, особенно для украинцев, я всем всегда говорю, эта программа для всех подойдет, если у тебя малый заработок, но особенно для украинцев, когда вы приехали в первый дом, может быть, вы первый месяц заплатили, но не уверены, как вы остальные будете платить. Эта программа разрешает, помогает оплачивать вам вашу аренду, если вы не уже живете пару месяцев, не платите, не успеваете, то она может. Там есть очень легко, там вы можете заявку на интернете сделать, позвонить или уже прийти поздно, но продолжать заявки делать на интернете и звонить еще возможно. Она открывается каждый день в 12:30, очень легко, там есть переводчики русские, украинцы. То есть, если вы нуждаетесь, и когда вы смотрите, у нас эта информация на сайте, и вы видите, что вы подходите по этим ограничениям финансовым, то, пожалуйста, эти финансы могут использоваться только для аренды, то есть не стесняйтесь, да, некоторые люди, мне не надо, если у вас есть нужда, не стесняйтесь, берите.
Да, очень важно. Да, можете найти больше об этой информации, и там также где вы можете подписаться или заполнить на эту программу на нашем веб-сайте slavicvote.org, и там всю информацию вы можете найти. Спасибо, что вы подключились. Надеюсь, вы остаетесь с нами на этой передаче. Мы переходим на наш английский язык с нашими гостями, и надеюсь, вы будете с нами. С нами будет гость Дэйв и Джуди Браун, и у нас будет очень интересная беседа.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Dave, Judy, it's really, really good to have you. I've been trying to get you guys here for a while now, and you guys have a busy schedule. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about your guys' story, and I've had a pleasure to hear a lot already, but I think you guys will tell some more things. But go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'd love to hear a little more about you guys.
This is Dave, and I'm Judy.
Yes.
Well, I'm a 34-year educator, and I've been teaching marketing and business and been in the schools, but currently I'm a PE and health teacher. On the sidelines, I'm helping right now with kids in the public schools, just receive those grades above a DRF. So, and loving kids. That's what I do. I love on kids.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Dave,
Awesome.
a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I spent the first part of my life, in the hardwood industry type business, for anything that built out of wood, for hardwoods. And then I wanted to coach really bad, so went into public education, and that's quite a turn to go from private enterprise to government.
Yeah.
But I got to coach for most of the last 35 years, football, basketball, tennis, and worked with thousands of kids. 4 years ago, retired and ran for the school board in Newburgh by the suggestions of a lot of people, won the election, and then the rest is history. It's been an interesting path because getting on the school board when we did, post-COVID, George Floyd, all the things that happened politically in the United States we've been right in the middle of that in Newburgh. Spear, and I'm the board chair,
Right.
and so a lot goes with it. But we've met great people like you, Dimitri, and now Lily. Everywhere we've been, all over the United States, all over Oregon for sure. So it's been that part's been exciting. There's a lot of great people out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys, I believe, go to Athey Creek, right? That's
Correct.
where I go as well.
Correct.
And how long have you guys been going there?
About 4.5 years,
4.5.
but I've
Awesome.
known the pastor and his wife for about 20 plus years. We were on our site council together, Debbie and I were, and so we worked together, helped to change some things that make the school better in Sherwood.
Awesome. And Dave and Judy Brown, Dave and Pastor Brett and his wife was on here a couple times as well.
Yeah.
Are they?
It was really good to have them and share their story and obviously get
Yep.
into a lot of interesting topics regarding the Slavic community and how much of the Slavic community goes to that church. But we're going to talk about you guys. Are you guys both originally from Oregon?
Yes.
Yes, I was,
Grew up.
well,
That's good.
I was born in Washington, so I was
Oh,
born in
look at that.
Washington, moved here when I was 5.
Okay.
To Tualatin back in 19 whatever, we'll miss that date, but when there were 500 people in Tualatin.
Wow.
So now there's a town of 30.
30. Yeah,
plus.
it's quite
very,
big.
very busy.
And when did you guys
Yeah.
move to Newburgh? So, well,
I've-
2008.
I've lived there since 1963.
wow. I'm guessing it changed quite a bit.
Small town. Now it's, definitely everything's growing. It's, it's a great town, small town.
Yeah.
Grew up working on all the farms. Loved it. Great place to grow up. Raised my kids there. It's been great. Yeah, we still love living there, even though it's a little crazy right now.
Yeah. It's a
So-
beautiful town. Yeah, I love driving through it when I go to McMinnville or Lincoln City. So we mentioned that you are the chair of the board of school board.
Yes.
Most people are listening. They probably don't know much what that is, the importance of it, and might not be even voting in this election, unfortunately. So let's talk a little bit about that position specifically, and maybe get into the story of just what happened in the last couple of years. But tell us a little bit about what exactly is the role of a school board member, and then I guess the chair as well.
Well, I think, there's a lot of misconception out there about what school board members can and cannot do. There's, we really have 3 jobs. We have one employee, and that's a superintendent, and then everybody else is his employee. We work on all the policies, which are our rules and laws that we, supposed to work by, and then we work on the budget. So much more comes to the board, but it's pretty complicated and kind of simple at the same time. But a lot of people don't really understand when parents are in the middle of raising kids. They just want their kids taken care of. They don't really care. The school board's just kind of off, in a big building, And so I thought the same thing. The school board members, though, have a real active role in helping the superintendent. I do. So when I was voted in board chair after 2 years, it's a role where you're the leader of the board. So you kind of run the meetings and you help dictate the agenda, what's going to be talked about in that board meeting. And, in our area, it's been, a little crazy. So we'll have a lot of people show up at board meetings. And, we try to navigate through that the best we can. Some angry people come.
Yeah.
And then some people are really nice. And so board chair, you're just kind of in charge of the meeting. So you're like you with the radio station, you're running it tonight. It's your show. And but the chair has no more vote than the other 6 members. We're all equal that way. You're just kind of the captain organizing it.
Right. And I know you mentioned, you guys are in charge of the policy and the budget, but I know that's like a kind of a common thing, but let's get into a little bit of what exactly that money, like a lot of times we don't know where that money goes and what exactly is getting funded, and what you guys do.
Well, the budget's, for a town like Newburgh, it's about $60 million. And so if you take a town like
Taxpayer
Newburgh,
60 million.
yeah, McMinnville can be, similar schools would be similar in budget. Fortunately, with some of the things we've done, like change our leadership, we've brought in a great new superintendent who brought in a great new financial director. She saved us from what other districts are going to go through. I don't want to mention their names here, but they're already going through financial big-time problems. She has helped us a ton, and it's awesome to have people like that are very, very good at their job.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money. It's $60 million is a lot of money. That money is going to come from basically how many students you have enrolled in your school district. I mean, it's close, but it's about $10,000 on average.
Wow.
And that's about where your budget. And then there's some federal monies, and it's government, so it gets complicated. But, schools always want to say they don't have enough.
Yep.
And the teachers get the lion's share of that, staff, that's just the way it is. It's about 80+% goes just towards staff. Then everything else has to be taken out of the rest of that.
So you basically dictate what kind of programs are being funded. Is that part of the role of the budget?
Yeah. I mean, the superintendent will bring those kind of things to the school board, and we have to talk about it with them. And ultimately, though, the board has to vote and sign off on on everything. Right now we have a great board that really cares about kids. In the past when I was on there, my first 2 years I lost every single vote. 2-5, every single vote. Never won one vote. In the last 2 years, we've won every vote. So that's why it's important to vote.
Yeah.
We coach currently. Judy and I coach the Canby girls tennis team, and Canby's up for every district has elections up right now, and so every vote really does matter. Our turnout in Oregon is low because a lot of people think their vote counts, and it really does. It's so important to vote for candidates that are going to really support your family values.
Yeah.
I know in Canby for us, we have 3 girls that are from Russian families. I think we have 11 girls from Hispanic families.
Wow.
We have a couple of girls that are from African American families. We have a really diverse group of girls, and a lot of our parents are really solid. They just want what's best for their kids.
Oh yeah.
And I think every parent wants that. And so that's really why your vote is so big. For an example, why your vote really counts. 2 years ago, Judy ran for the Park and Rec Board. She lost by 121 votes.
Wow, that's nothing.
And so, 121 votes.
Yeah.
And our election this time is going to be super close. So every vote, and I think it's something we owe our kids. They need to see us vote. And especially what we're doing here, reading all your history here of your station and how you're trying to assimilate, people here. We have this massive privilege to vote.
Yeah.
And if you get enough people in Canby or Newburgh or wherever, they can make the difference.
Yeah.
Well, I've been asking all the questions. I'll go ahead and hand it off to Lily.
Oh no, I'm just honestly, I don't have any questions. You're doing good. I'm just learning because, I think you mentioned 60 million. I deal with 2 million, and I think that's a crazy amount of money. And I'm always like, because I'm the chair of a private school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of money. And yeah, every single budget you put together, really, you got to do it for the kids. And yeah, anyways, but
I would, add to that too. I think one thing about encouraging people to vote, out there in any community is everybody needs to kind of understand, because like when you talk about your kids, right? We were just at our district tennis tournament with our Canby girls, and safety is our number one factor every time, right? We just want the safety. And I think every parent, that's their biggest concern, safety of their child. And so when you think about safety from being harmed by somebody, when they get into that school, how are they being treated? What are they being taught? What are they being talked to? And unfortunately in Oregon, we're a pretty hard left-leaning state, and there's a lot of people that do stuff in there that shouldn't be done. And that's not protecting our kids, it's just something that should be done at home.
yeah.
And I know with our families and our tennis team, we're there to take care of their kids for a couple hours a day, but we're going to uphold their values. That doesn't always happen. And I think the more it's not always exciting to come to a school board meeting, but I think if people would just come to a meeting every once in a while, we'll spend more time going to sporting matches and stuff and games than we do like what's really going on for our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if people came to a school board meeting, they would be like, oh. And they would just be like, okay, this is more important than basketball or soccer. They'd be like, man, this is my kid. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A question that did come up is, so what are some things, a side question to your candidacy, but I know, especially with Ukrainians, they're really, really scared about all the shootings. I think as they entered the world here, they started getting text messages that there's a lockdown. I get a lot of parents are like, what is this? What do I do? What are some things public schools are currently, or Newburgh specifically, for safety, right? We just had a private school shooting recently. And that's been something I talked to my board, and we're trying to figure out how do we deal with that, because now it doesn't really matter if it's public or anything. Schools are a target. So what are some things that you guys have done or doing that you think safety, that we can relate to the community and say, hey, there are things that are being done and you should be rest assured?
Well, I did security at Newburgh High School, so I was involved with the police quite a bit. And our police department in Newburgh, for example, is outstanding. They're one of the safest communities in the state, and they're very professional. They don't deal with politics. They just everybody's important to them.
Yeah.
And at the school level, we have a SRO, which means a police resource officer dedicated to the schools.
Okay.
And our one in Newburgh, Officer Moreland's outstanding. He's great. I got to work with him for years. we just, through the city of Newburgh and the public, our superintendent and our public schools reached an agreement. You know, if you just reach out and start working with people, good stuff can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we have a second SRO come in now that's going to be focused where Judy works the middle schools and then in the grade schools.
Nice.
And so they won't just come and go like the one we
Yeah.
have now. We'll have two. And we'd really, need to have, the next goal would be 3 and then 4.
Yeah.
I think the public school shooting thing is so scary. Social media creates a lot of
Yeah.
false narratives, and that's the unfortunate parts of social media.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger safety factor in our schools is really what's being taught to the kids
Yeah.
and what's being allowed to happen in the schools.
Right.
The school shootings are absolutely tragic, but every day in your town, my town, this town that we're sitting in right now, what's being taught to our kids is reaching millions of kids.
Right. And it's just as tragic.
Not dozens.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's I'm trying to answer that in a way. I'm trying to be nice here, where
No, you're
we have
good.
millions of kids being impacted
Absolutely.
by people who have an agenda. And that's unfortunate because I think the parents really think it's schools like it was. I'm much older than you, but I think a lot of parents feel like school is the way it was when they went to school, and it is not
No,
at
yeah.
all.
Right.
Well, that's a
absolutely.
question that I wanted to bring up here in just a minute. How much has the school system changed? Because you guys have been in the school system for 30 years, you mentioned. But before you answer that question, Judy, you've been part of this for a while as well with Dave, and sounds like you were trying to run for some positions as well. Tell us a little bit about your experience of what does it mean? How does it feel to what
What
it
is
mean
a parks and board?
well, that as well, and then what does it take to live?
I got appointed to it once, and I never ran, so I'm wondering, what is it?
'Cause this probably hasn't been easy for you as well with all the stuff that's going on.
As a seasoned teacher and being in the school district for a very long time, and one of the favorite teachers and the favorite teachers by all the staff, it's been a big challenge because, not to put down our union or the people that I teach with, but I was pretty much ostracized because of the decisions that my husband was on a board with that made those decisions. And so being ostracized, being separated, not being talked to, going to class, and being the one out, that's been really, really challenging for my heart and for who I am.
Right.
Especially wanting to be, part of the group. You want to
Yeah.
go to work and you want to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So I always did that. So I think it's been really challenging that way. But I also know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so working to help educate kids. My calling is to be with kids. My calling is to be with staff and to make an impact in education.
Yeah.
So wherever that might be. And I think, like, back to the safety piece that I spoke on at another event, and I talked about, I reassure parents that you have people who care about your kids. It is usually, we're doing all the things. We're practicing like a safety procedure. We used to do earthquake, in case we had earthquakes in Oregon.
Yeah.
Because we had earthquakes in Oregon and Washington probably.
Yeah.
But now we do this other safety. But just know that your kids are coming to school, and the safety piece of somebody coming into the school is very rare, but it is on social media and out in the media.
Yeah.
That piece. I think the bottom line is, like, we need to know each other and we need to care for each other.
Right.
So when we know each other and we have a relationship with someone else, these kids won't go through this process. And the other part of that is knowing people is taking away their social media in the respect of some of the stuff that they keep plowing through their brain.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to add on to that. I think Judy gave you the nice answer.
Let's hear it, Dave.
She's been treated awful.
Yeah.
And not just because of me, but it's just because of the way of the world, from vaccinations to masks to COVID to the politics that have taken place. It's split families. It's split, communities. Now I told people a year and a half ago, Dimitri, that it will come to your community. You can move to Idaho or Texas, but it will come to your community, and it has. And I'm not saying it to be right. It's just this is a nationwide cultural problem that we have.
Yeah.
That's why I loved reading your statement in there about how the goal here is to assimilate people from Russia to come here and live this experience. It's got to be difficult. I can't imagine. But I think what Judy said was the nice way of saying it's been really rough. I couldn't have done anything I've done without Judy. She's the toughest person I know. And I always, whatever I've gone through, I think everything that we've been through together, it sets you up to maybe be able to handle this. And one of the biggest things we've heard, and we just met with people from Prineville on Saturday. How do you do this? And we say Jesus, we say our marriage, our friends, because it does get brutal. And I don't know, I couldn't do anything without Judy, but how she's been treated at school and how other educators are treated is awful. And it's sad to see people treat other humans that way.
Yeah, and this is perfect, but I want to ask a piece of advice from you, Judy. So our community, obviously seeing this is one of the things they are scared to run, is because of how ugly the races are, how competitive, how personal they get. Your piece of reflective advice you would share with the community, saying, regardless, you mentioned like knowing your calling, but your takeaway, like one thing you would say out of everything, like what if the person has that fear, sees it, afraid, because that's me. I'm talking about myself. I've been in politics. I don't run because of that. I don't want my family to be put on a spot. I don't want myself. I don't have anything bad for say. And I know a lot of our community leaders that want to take that step, but it's still, they will get there, right? They're going to attack you personally. What is that one piece that you would share?
If you feel like you're supposed to do it, do it.
Yeah.
I just say, plunge through it, get a team around you, and I think that's the big part, because we have a team of people that we started in Newburgh. Even if I lost my election, we had other people who lost and a few that won.
So
Dave won.
Didn't feel like alone.
So
okay.
It's so you're not alone.
Okay.
You can do this.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
you can't do it alone.
Yeah, and that's what we're here at Slavic Vote, is anybody who's listening who has thought about running, don't do it alone. Reach out to us. Yes. We have a great team. Dima's ran a few times, has experience. We can contact you with the right people, but don't do it alone. But if you have that desire, do it.
Absolutely. Well, we unfortunately have to take a quick second break to thank our sponsors, because we couldn't have been on here. One of the sponsors I wanted to mention today is the Third House Media. They're a great organization that helps build websites and do other media out there. Solution 8020. Ina, I know you know her personally as well.
Yeah,
she does
thank you.
Great taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, correct, yeah. Then we also have America Best Realty, Sabaroni, Dream House Construction is another one. Exceptional Homes, Gold Cup. I was actually at Gold Cup today. We had a great.
Oksana loved having you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You were there too.
Yes.
In fact, I just want to mention that today we had a really good breakfast with a new sponsor that we just recently brought on, and Igor Ivanov with his media company. So we want to just thank him also for his sponsorship and for the work that he's doing. He's doing some really good. It's basically digital marketing. So if you guys are looking for digital marketers, reach out to Igor Ivanov. He does a lot of good work. And that reminds me as well, if you're listening, if you would like to support our organization, if you like to sponsor, if you'd like to contribute, you can find all that information on our website, slavicvote.org, where you can either do a one-time donation, or you can do a business sponsorship, or just whatever you're comfortable with. So you can always reach out to us. And again, because of our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this without them. So,
exactly.
Anybody else want to highlight when it comes to sponsors, Lily?
There's many. You have that
many.
list, and
Yes.
I think just an appreciation. Our work started with just an idea, and to be able to grow and be where we are, really couldn't be possible without those individuals.
Absolutely.
Because you need money, unfortunately, for everything.
And I can't, I can't not mention Start Here, which is another sponsor of ours, which is you personally have a business where you help people with nonprofit stuff.
Yes.
So tell a little bit about that really quick.
I just do nonprofit consultations. I love nonprofit work, and I love having clients that it's beyond making money, right? It's about a mission that's greater, and I get to be part of that journey every day. Well, I do more of their legal stuff, compliance and regulations and governance, but to be able to take care of that while they can do the bigger things. Like Slavic Vote. You guys can do this radio while all of your other stuff is taken care of.
Yes. So yeah, Lily.
So that's what I do.
Yes, thank you. And you were with us from the very beginning, so we appreciate that, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you, Lily, for all of your hard work.
Yeah, you
And
too.
where can people find more information? Where they
Just
can
start
consulting?
here.consulting. Yeah. I got creative. There's no .com, no .org, nothing. I just said, you know what, it's 21st century.
Yes, and one more time,
Start here.consulting.
That's right. Starthere.consulting. And if you want to visit our website, you can find all their links as well to their websites on our website as well. If you're looking to start a nonprofit, if you're looking to maybe fix your nonprofit.
Yes, I
consulting
actually
is
have
your
more
biggest-
reinstatement status clients these days than new,
And your
which is
your
interesting.
passion is what is it? Compliance, right? You're really passionate about that.
Yes. Conflict of interest, the board. Dave knows.
So if you're looking for a good compliance person, she's the way to go.
Maybe not. I'm way
We'll
too
talk
strict.
afterward.
She's very strict, yeah, which is good. It gets us out of a lot of trouble. Or
You haven't been in any.
avoid making sure we don't get
Avoiding
into
it,
any
yes.
trouble. Yes. If Lily
I've
wasn't
been in
around,
enough trouble for all of us. So
There you go.
So I know we've kind of brushed over a few things regarding kind of what happened. We're kind of touching on all the crazy things that's happened. Before we get into that story,
I kind of want to get into it. I'm anticipating.
Well,
I don't know
and
much
I wanted to kind of
about it.
have you premise with, you said you've been in Newburgh for 20, 30 years.
59.
59 since 59. So tell us, in just in Oregon, how much has changed? What has changed? What caused this change? And why? What happened? Why we're here right now? Dealing with all this stuff.
No, it's a great question. I think, when you look at our country, I think, we always, there's the peaks and the valleys that we've gone through. I'm a big history buff, so I look at history all the way through. And I think when you look at our country from even 5 years ago, it's way different. Education's way different. A school board member that would have been here 5 years ago would be like, what just happened? Superintendents, even teachers and coaches, everything's changed. And so it's a very different place. And so I think when you have kids at home too, it's changed for them, and it's changed for the parents. It's just harder, different to navigate. For me, probably the biggest thing that happened is after George Floyd was killed, the political scene in our country, Oregon, Portland, and then everywhere just went crazy. And so that's been very, very difficult. Since that time, I think that's when it really went over the edge. And unfortunately, a lot of people are very naive in what they'll just watch, say, a TV show and they believe what's said. Yeah. And I think, if I am a parent, my kids are older, but we have grandkids now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've got to, we would do anything to protect our kids and our grandkids. Anything. And so I think that, ask questions, know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'll come back and on this and answer all the questions that Dimitri and you can come up with, Lily, because I think that's where parents really need to really know.
Yeah.
Because I want to know. You don't send your kid over to a house that you don't feel they're safe at.
Yeah.
And
So how do they know, Dave? Is it showing up to the board meetings? Are there other venues for them to be in the know?
No, that's a great question. I would honestly challenge everybody. When I first got to the board, Judy's awesome at this, to do it with me. And we went to some other towns and went to school board meetings, kind of going, what's this really going to be like?
Yeah.
And it's not like the most famous, highest rated Hollywood movie, but when you do go, you walk out of there, you understand more. Mm-hmm. And I think as parents, if they did go, they'd walk out of there going, holy smokes, And I think then once you have the knowledge, you start to get the courage. And once you have the courage, you have the ability to act.
Yeah.
And I'm just too stubborn to put up with people who tell me that they're right when they're wrong.
Yeah.
I know what works with kids. We've been doing this a long time. And kids want it straight over the plate. They want it fair. They all want to be treated, the same. Our kids will work hard. They're respectful, because we tell them that's what the requirement is, and they just do it.
Yeah.
Our Canby girls are awesome, but I think parents need to up their game.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and jump in and tell us a little bit what happened exactly. 4 years ago or so? Something happened that kind of changed the history of Newburgh in many ways.
Well, I was a really popular coach in town, and then my last year at the high school, we went to the Billy Graham Crusades in Canby, Oregon, by chance, Canby. And we went to a class to lead people to Christ. And when we got there, we went with two other couples. I told Judy, I said, I'm always in charge. I just want to sit back and do nothing. I want to eat some JoJo's and just
I
listen.
love that.
And so Judy goes, okay. She doesn't care. She's off. She can handle it. And so we did. And Franklin Graham came out and changed our lives because we were told he wouldn't be the speaker that Billy Graham was, which, who would be. And is it okay to talk about Franklin Graham?
Of course, yeah.
Franklin Graham came out, and he's a big, tall man. After the music was for an hour, it was really great music, 11,000 people at the Clackamas County Fair. And he just, all of a sudden, this big booming voice goes, "What do you do?" And as soon as he said it, I just turned around and looked at him. Something hit me, but I didn't know what. And I'm a coach. I just do sports, And he let it marinate for about 30 seconds. The crowd got quieter, and he goes, "What do you do?" And by this time, he's got 100% of my attention. He let it marinate again for about 30 seconds, and he goes, "What do you do? Are you on the PTA? You're on the city council? You're on the county commissioners? You're on the school board?" And I thought about that right then and there, and I said, "No, I don't do any of that. I coach.
Yeah.
And I'm really active in my community through sports.
Yeah.
So I don't have time for that." And so Judy knows that about a month later, we're downtown Newburgh, and we get out of the truck to do the Friday night art walk, and this Hispanic lady who's a sweetheart, her and her husband stop us, and they said, "You need to run for the school board." Like, huh? I mean, after 20 years of working in, dysfunctional schools, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But we were nice to her, and she prayed for us and everything. And so we went on with our evening, and kind of chuckled about it. And then over the course of the summer and the start of the school year, we just kept getting more and more people saying, "Run for the school board." I still wouldn't have done it, but in February, it's getting towards a deadline to file. Judy, being my coach, kind of goes, "You're going to run or not?" And I go, "I don't know." So the next night she said it again. She goes, "Well, you're either going to do it or not." And I go, "Fine, I'll do it." So she signs me up, and the rest is history. That's how I got into it. And ran against two people. Didn't know at the time that the other guy running, Brian Shannon, who's been on the school board with me for 4 years, one of the smartest people I've ever met. He and I both had to win races to get on the school board. Everybody else had been appointed and then ran unopposed.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's the big difference now is most school board members in all your communities were appointed or ran unopposed.
Yeah.
And now there's hundreds of thousands of dollars getting spent on elections. And the nastiness of politics has come out. And I think that's what's changed a lot. So.
Well, yeah.
But
Go
the
ahead, Judy.
deep story is
Yes.
where you want to go. There was a policy that they were voting on. It was the anti-racism policy, and that started it. So Dave voted against it, and that the social media blew up. People from all over the country that used to live in Newburgh came after Dave,
Oh,
and
wow.
then it just steamrolled. And this other gentleman that he's talking about, Brian Shannon, said, "Well, if we would have talked more, I was going to go with you, but I didn't really like it." So that was really the start, and then flowing over to many more. Go ahead, Dave. From
Well,
there.
post George Floyd, our superintendent at the time came in with a resolution, and all a resolution is a piece of paper with words on it. It's not a law or anything. So that's what a resolution is. Again, that's one of those terms that people think it's real, but it's just a piece of paper. And it was filled with white privilege. There was racism laced all the way through it. It was the whole thing was just wrong, and it was the new political thing moving forward. And I looked at the whole thing, and I just don't do color. I'm not prejudging anybody. So I was like, no, I voted no. And that's when, like Judy said, it got ugly super fast. Within 24 to 48 hours.
Wow.
At our next school
Yes.
board meeting, literally, again, Brian and I were the only two people on there Brian hadn't changed his vote yet, but they probably had 50 people in the room, and 25 of them right in a row for an hour and a half just screamed at me. Nobody, and I don't care. I mean, I'm tough enough to handle that, but I didn't know what to do. I'm a pretty brand new board person, and the superintendent, the board chair, nobody said, "Hey, let's just be a little nicer here." Nope. And
They
so
just
this went
allowed
on
it to
for
happen.
meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, and I was called, a lot of bad things, but racist and homophobic and everything, and it's just not even close to being true.
Yeah.
But I think when you have 50 people in a hopper over here screaming at the top of their lungs, in a bullhorn, which is Facebook, they make it sound pretty loud.
And do you think the chair, by not pausing or quieting it, really wanted for that publicity and for that
sure.
to occur?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I became board chair, she literally gave a 10-minute speech on how bad of a human being I was. And that is so wrong when it comes to the decorum of a meeting and stuff. And I listened, and I didn't know what to do. I was pretty shocked by it.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had a 4-3 advantage on the board. Again, that's why it's important to vote.
Yes.
4-3 is changed Newburgh.
Yeah.
So if I said anything today that makes sense to everybody out there, doesn't matter, again, what town you live in, 4-3. Pretty simple math makes all the difference on the votes for city council to the county commissioners to a school board.
Yeah.
And so, like in our marriage, I mean, I get a half a vote, Judy gets a full vote, so I'm usually going to lose. But 4-3, and everything started changing, and we really don't ever get into the Republican Democrat thing. We just don't. We just talk about our board now. We want to do the best, what's best for parents and kids. And my biggest passion is for the parents, because I just know how many parents have came to me and Judy and said, man, I need your help. And as a parent, especially when you're younger, like you guys, it's like, I need help. And not everybody is comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody should be on a school board. I think younger people like you guys, especially when people have young kids, stay at home and raise your kids. But if you don't have kids, or you have an opportunity when you're a bit older, that's when I think people really should be out there in the community, being involved in stuff.
But you can be involved in your school, just to add.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that question, but just be a volunteer.
Right.
Come in, read to a group, because I think that's mostly needed now, because our kids' scores are so low. But yeah, you can be involved.
Right. Yeah.
Mom or dad.
Dave, and I wanted to so you mentioned DNR, and that's, I think, for our community is always confusing when they don't see an R by name with the school district or not, right? Because we have to go back to educating them, saying these are not partisan races, right? You're not going to run, and you're not going to have. So what you need to do is really know the person in order to identify whether or not, right? Is that how that should be? Is there anything else you'd recommend for our community? Because really it is, in some cases, even not just for community, just general, when they see the RD, they know how to vote, even though really that person might not align at all with them, but it's the party they vote with, that's their comfort level, whatnot. With nonpartisan, what are some of your suggestions, especially for the Slavic community, of like, how do you identify, like, do you reach out to the candidates? Is the bio a good place to start to identify?
I think, again, coming to a school board meeting, everything's public records. So you can ask for votes, for example, like how I vote.
Okay.
And I think that's probably your simplest, quickest route.
Nice. Okay.
Is how you can determine how somebody votes. That really is kind of who we are. You're going to vote, the way you're going to vote. The DNR thing, I totally agree. I'm like, it shouldn't be part of it. Mm-hmm. It is. But it shouldn't be. We should be there just for education. We shouldn't be there, for the political side of it. And so I think, again, the parents just finding out, how board members are voting according to their family values. And I think they'll be surprised.
Right.
And then that's an opportunity. I think people should do it nicely. But, it's an opportunity to write a letter into the board. It can be very short, it can be longer. But instead of just going off the rails, just write a nice letter and say thank you for your time. And I think that gets a lot more mileage than screaming and yelling and calling names.
Yeah.
That's for me.
True.
I mean.
Well, I wanted to also kind of share, kind of paint a picture when the reason that I got, you guys caught my attention is because during that time when this all happened, most of us, on social media, we saw, story after story and videos after videos of parents going to the school board and pleading with the board to stop this insanity. And we saw story after story with school boards just sitting there silently doing nothing about it. And it was really refreshing to see a school board that actually did something about it. And so share a little bit about, did you have, I'm guessing you had, some of the experiences that you've experienced just from that. Because I know you told me a lot of really cool stories of just when you actually talk to people on the individual level. I think that some of the things that you really enjoy talking to me about.
Well, I think wherever you go around the state, people are awesome. There's so many great people out there. And this isn't a slam on anybody. I think a lot of adults have a kindergarten education of education. And like, if you ask me to work on, like, build a deck, build a fence, I'm your guy. I can do that. But don't ask me to work on your car. I'm not good with that. And so I think, knowing where your strengths are. Just, I think for parents, though, it's like, and I know I was there. You spend so much time with basketball and football and soccer, and we don't spend near as much time on like what's going on with our kids' lives, what's really impacting them for a 6-7 hour day. And that would be my big recommendation to parents. But I think the negative side of this too is we have to just know and face up that our country is different than it was 4 or 5 years ago, and it's not as easy. And especially if somebody's just moving here trying to assimilate to our country, they're going, huh? What's going on here? And I talk to people all the time, Dimitri, that are, they know this is a great country, and it still is. I think we've lost our focus. And like what Judy said earlier, one of our big goals that we try to do, and we wake up every day, and we got to pray about it because it's not easy when somebody's really screaming at you, is to not scream back. There's a lady on our school board that made me promise I wouldn't get mad in a school board meeting. And so the first time, because I can get a little fired up when it comes to coaching, and she made me promise if she was going to run. So she ran, she won. And our first meeting, we were on Zoom, and she's on the bottom left-hand corner in this little tiny box on my computer screen. And somebody said something really crazy, and I'm about ready to come unglued, right? And I looked at her, and I went, no, I promised I can't do that. But that in turn has encouraged a lot of people to say, I can stay calm if you can stay calm. And so you don't know, like this radio station or school board, how it's impacted people. We've had people come up from everywhere we've been. I had a lady call from Louisiana, and she had that thick Southern accent, and she said, we pray about you guys from Louisiana. I said, how did you hear about us? And she goes, oh, we know all about you guys. She goes, as a matter of fact, we have 3 churches praying for the Newburgh School Board. And that was really funny. She goes, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She goes, where's Newburgh? I said, it's in Oregon. She goes, where's Oregon? And I said, well, it's between California and Washington. And we had a fun talk about it. But
she probably goes, oh, yeah, that's lost.
People from all over.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this whole story kind of went national and probably international. Have you heard from any people from other countries?
Other countries, no. Other states, a ton.
Yeah.
Like you and I met over this thing, and it's like, you take a stand for what you guys take a stand in, and we do too. And it's like, the question you had a little bit ago, though, I think when, Lily, you said it, when people are asking, why me?
Yes.
I think you have to really, I always tell everybody, when you go to bed at night and you brush your teeth and you look in the mirror, you can't lie to yourself. You know what you did that day. You know if you were nice, if you drove too fast and got away with a ticket you should have gotten, or if you're rude to somebody,
Yeah, do you know? Because those half things are about
and so I think a lot of people just need to look in the mirror and say, like Judy said, what can I do? And I think a lot of people have hidden talents they just don't know about. And I'm not saying this to be rude to women at all, but right now, like for a Newburgh, for example, the people that have been the most attacking have been women. And I think that the men, in my opinion, have not led. I don't think men are leading in this country right now. I think a lot of men are sitting back and they're passive. They're not helping enough with the kids. They're not helping enough with school board elections. It's mostly women. And women are a little bit more drama-filled. Men are a little bit more, so-called, they can do this or that, but the men are not standing up. And I see that all over. And if you want your family to go to church, then you should be the first one out the door opening up the car. If you want your family to pray before you eat at a restaurant, then pray. If you want to have better schools, then get in there to a school board meeting. Because, I think a lot of the women are waiting for their men to do that. When the men don't do it, then they're just going to get it done, because that's what women do. They take care of the kids. When the man takes off for another basketball game, who's going to feed the kids and put them to bed and take baths? It's the women.
Right.
And so they're going to get stuff done because that's what women do. And when the men don't stand up and lead, the women will take on that role.
Yeah. And they might not be quite fit sometimes. Even I personally will say that myself.
That's a great way to kind of start ending our program. Thank you for that. That was great. I did have a question that I wrote down, and then you brought up something that I think it would be important to cover. You mentioned the unions, and we talked about other influences. What exactly, what are the other than unions? What else is influencing what we're seeing right now? What exactly is causing a lot of this stuff that we're seeing in schools? I was talking to Anton, our video guy, today, and we had some time to really speak, and he was just sharing, he goes to high school. He's, I think, freshman, and he's just sharing some of the craziest things that I've never even thought about. I've never seen, and I've heard a lot.
Yes.
And what he's telling me is just scary, and stuff that we grew up not even experiencing in our schools. So,
I mean, we still haven't probably experienced.
right, and it's only going to get worse. So what are some of the influences other than the unions, and what can we do to stop them?
I think what's happening in our schools starts, at least in Oregon, I'm sure in Washington, the Department of Education has been infiltrated with a whole bunch of people from the East Coast coming this direction.
Outside
outside
influences.
people coming in and
Don't
not
know what's
really
going on here. They want to influence our area.
They want to influence Oregon. And I think what's happening, like with, the young man who's a freshman, he's probably seeing assignments that are probably not the same kind of assignments that he had, that you and I had.
Yeah.
He
has no homework.
He has no
That's
homework.
crazy.
In Washington, you don't have to.
We don't have homework anymore for the last 3 years.
And the way you grade, the
Yeah.
grade is proficiency grading, meaning you can keep taking that test until you pass.
Yeah.
Versus how we used to have to study,
Yeah.
and we're staying up and we're going to get all the facts and we're going to.
And you got a grade letter versus a narrative.
Yes. Or we're not giving grades. That's the other piece, because we don't
want to hurt anybody.
their feelings, or we're not disciplining.
Well,
That's the
and
biggest
that
part.
thing right there, you just said it too, is it's absolutely the truth. There's just no way around this. And everybody listening to this radio program can, that the best lessons you ever learned in life were some of the tough lessons. Yep. And it's staying up till midnight to get your homework done. It's having to get up at, like I did at 5 o'clock every off day in the summertime to go work in the fields. And, life's not easy. Mm-mm. And by telling kids a false lie or a real lie, life's not easy.
Right.
And if we don't communicate that to them, we're not doing our job as educators and coaches. And right now, we're, like Judy said, there's a lot of politics that's moved down, and it's harming our kids, because I think as parents we want our kids to be polite, work hard, take the garbage out, get involved, do stuff, and the kids are not hearing that message enough. Mm-hmm. And I think Judy and I were just talking about a young man that she was working with now. He's counting on people like us to do the right thing for him, because he can't do it yet. He's in 6th, 7th grade. He doesn't know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
And even when somebody's 18, 19, 20, they're still figuring it all out. They need somebody to show them the real way.
Right. And unfortunately, it's the opposite way that's showing it to them.
Yes.
And hard work is hard work. I mean, life's not an easy task.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what we're getting out of kids out of public school now, is that they're thinking that life is easy, because they're being taught there's no homework. You don't have to worry about it. Oh, you failed, that's fine. Do it again. Do it 100 times. That's not how the real world works. But honestly, though, I think of it, once they finish high school, they go on to university. I was at one at WSU, and to be honest, you could succeed ultimately in life if you're being taught out of public school now, because everything else is the same, right? You get to university, it's about the same thing. You're not being taught in your career or anything skill. It's all sociology and psychology, and you get out and you're like, you can't even score a job because you don't know how to use Outlook unless you had a part-time job, and you don't know how to do math because Excel did it, and now all of a sudden Excel doesn't work.
Yeah, or Google for some kids.
Right. And so Wi-Fi doesn't work. What do I do? Oh, there's books. What is that? So I feel like we got to start with like the basics, which is like education, because otherwise everything else in the world is unfortunately is aligning, and I guess you could succeed.
Absolutely.
In that way.
Well, unfortunately, we came to an end. I just wanted to give you kind of the last few words. The camera is right here. You were speaking to the Slavic community. What's on your heart? What's something you want to share? Both of you. We have election that's just a couple days away. Yeah. So what would you like to tell them?
You go first.
I would just go out and vote. Your vote really does count. Yes, your vote counts. And then spend lots of time with your kids because they grow up so fast. In a blink, they're gone. So please vote and spend lots of time with your kids.
Dave?
I think I would say, the message we try to put out there all the time is to, our kids deserve our best, and unfortunately, public schools right now are not doing that. Yeah. And it is a reality. And at the same time, though, we have a lot of great teachers out there, and we try to say this in Newburgh, Dundee schools. We have a lot of great teachers, a lot of great ed assistants, a lot of great principals. So they're not all bad. Mm-hmm. The system is just out of focus. So everything you can do to get involved. And the last thing I'd say to you guys is, boy, if something's going haywire and you don't like it, say no.
Yeah.
Because you have a powerful voice as a parent. And especially if you get one more parent to go with you and then one more parent to go with you.
Yeah.
And you go talk to that principal nicely, you'd be amazed how much power you really do have. And I'm not talking about if your kid makes the basketball team. I'm talking about if there's wrong stuff being taught in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you both. Thank you for, just on behalf of the whole community, thank you for standing up for what's going on and not being afraid, because I think it's important. So
Thanks for what you do. This
Thank
is great.
you.
Yeah, and I do want to do a shout out. I had a community member last week, reach out to me, and I want to say thank you for getting engaged. I won't say the name because I actually didn't ask their permission, but there is a student in middle school here in Oregon, actually in Happy Valley area, that wanted to do a Bible class, got approval, and then 2 days later was told not to. They were able to secure the right legal assistance, and I think she is back as of this week to be able to lead her Bible class. So that's was awesome.
Great.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. That's awesome.
So
Just want to remind folks before we close this program, election is just around the corner, May 16th. And if you haven't voted, and if you're looking for resources, who to vote for, specifically who are more aligned with the Slavic community, we have some names on our website that we use with some of the organizations that we partner, like Oregon Family Council and Oregon Moms Union. So you can visit our website. There's going to be links there. And you asked a question that I wanted to answer as well regarding, what's some of the best ways to research candidates when you're voting? Because I know you look at those ballots, those names, obviously, most of them are unknown. My personal experience, and maybe just because I've been doing it long enough, it's easier, but just looking at their bios, and most importantly, I think, all the endorsements.
yes.
If you look at the endorsements, like if you just see a teachers union, you can forget about that one. Usually that's my rule. Just vote for the other person that doesn't have a teachers union
And if
endorsement.
both do, then vote for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So you just vote for other and just put your name. At least that's what I do. You will not win,
that's your trick.
unfortunately, but it's a way to
Pull
just
the vote.
pull the vote and not just to show how unpopular these both candidates. Because if we vote for somebody, it's just not going to be.
Regardless.
Yeah. So don't leave it blank. I always suggest color in other and then put your name. Is that something you recommend as well, or you have another?
Yeah,
suggestion?
I think that's awesome. People can write anything like on Facebook, and if you think Facebook is real, it's not. People make up stuff, and they do that in the voters pamphlet. So I agree. I think who recommends people would be probably your quickest, fastest way to honest sincerity.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
very, very true.
Well,
Good
I
one.
really appreciate it. Just want to remind folks, if you are looking for rental assistance, if you know somebody, Ukrainian refugees, we have this program that we are promoting right now and talking about it. You can find more information on that on our website. Lily, anything else you want to announce? Anything? You have an event that's coming up at your church?
Yes, we are. And I'll probably share more info, but it's a workshop. We are scheduling for Ukrainian arrivals, and we'll get more info. But Oregonians are welcome to attend as well. We're not limiting. Yes, our goal is to serve the Washingtonians because that's where the funding is, but we are not going to decline you if you show up because it's information.
This is
we
at
would
the
have done
Father's
it.
House Church?
Yes, and it is going to be on May 25th from 7 to 9. It's 2 workshops, and it's how to look up your I-94 and get your new work authorization approval because the process is a little different than people are used to, which is there's no more applications, which is a really big win when it comes to how we move forward with that.
So yeah, if you're listening and if you know some Ukrainian refugees, if you know somebody who came here recently, they'll probably listen to this, wouldn't understand it. But if you know them, let them know that this is happening. Again, this is.
We'll share more in
Correct.
actually in Russian, Ukrainian,
Yep.
so people know.
And this will be at the Father's House Church.
Yes,
That's
in
at
Vancouver, Washington.
Pastor Victor Lebedev, great church, great pastor. He's a big supporter of getting involved, and he goes to a lot of the school board hearings as well. Probably the most active pastor that I know.
Yeah, he's got kids
Washington.
in public school. And his daughter, actually, he did a waiver for her to not be in a certain class. And then the school still ended up having her attend that class regardless. And so that's when he actually got involved, is because he said that is not okay. And now my child is traumatized. I mean, she came crying, bawling. She's like, Dad, but you promised, you told me you were going to get me out.
Seriously, the first time you're told no, that's just, you count on another meeting, because as a
and he
parent,
did.
you can,
Yep.
don't take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Well, thank you again. Thank you very much for being here,
you.
Lily. Thank you for taking time.
thank you.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
It's good.
Thank you, Slavic family, for having us on this radio. We're looking forward to the next program. And again, May 16th, Oregon elections.
Yes.
Please vote. You still have the time to drop it off at the ballot at your elections office. And you can also, and don't forget to make sure you have the right signature. And always visit our website for any additional information, future episodes, past episodes, and sign up for our newsletter.
Yep.
So
You
thank you
covered
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
looking forward
Good
to next
night.
time. Have a good day.
Новости региона, выборы, кандидаты, стремления. Новая программа Slavic Vote Live. Каждую неделю в прямом эфире. Slavic Vote Live дает голос славянской общине по всему северо-западу. Мы говорим и информируем о важном в Вашингтоне, Орегоне, Калифорнии. По четвергам в 17:00. Присоединяйтесь к прямому эфиру на 10:40 АМ. Ищите Slavic Vote в соцсетях. Мы намерены продолжать продвигать свое видение и оказывать любую необходимую поддержку сообществу, чтобы изменить ситуацию к лучшему. Slavic Vote Live.
Внимание! Редакция медиахолдинга Slavic Family не несет ответственность за содержание рекламных сообщений и авторских программ.
America, you're looking grand. America, it's true. America, we citizens will sing our praise of you. America, you're on my mind. America, you'll always be America. America, it's true. Americans, let's all join hands in song and brotherhood. With love of land and fellow men to serve the common good. America, the land of hope. America, you'll always be America. America, it's true. America, you're going strong. Let's fill the air with cheers. America, keep moving on. Another 200 years. America, you're in my heart. America, you'll always be America. America, love you. America, you're in my heart. America, you'll always be America. America, love you. America, America, America.
Внимание! Новая программа помощи для жителей города Грэшем, штат Орегон. Если вы испытываете финансовые трудности и живете на территории города Грэшем, обращайтесь, пожалуйста, в Славянский общественный центр. Эта специальная программа предназначена для людей, которые потеряли работу, потеряли рабочие часы из-за болезни, например, были вынуждены уйти с работы. И наша организация «Славянский общественный центр» готова вам помочь с частичной оплатой коммунальных счетов, а также предоставить вам продуктовую корзину. Это одноразовая помощь, счета оплачиваются частично, бюджет программы ограничен, и программа предназначена только для жителей города Грэшем. Пожалуйста, за дополнительной информацией звоните прямо сейчас. 503 272 14 70 503 272 1470. Новая программа помощи для жителей города Грэшем. Если вы испытываете финансовые трудности и живете на территории города Грэшем, обращайтесь прямо сейчас в Славянский общественный центр. Звоните 503 272 1470 503 272 1470. Мы с вами.
Slavic family.
Внимание! Клиника Vista Dental сделает вашу улыбку вновь сияющей и проведет в полную реконструкцию всего за несколько посещений. Вы будете улыбаться и не стесняться. Порадуйте вашей улыбкой окружающих. Конечно, это специалист высокой квалификации в области косметической стоматологии и в работе с имплантами доктор Мо Салех по косметической стоматологии и имплантации зуб 98683. Пигмент 360 858 20 сделает вашу улыбку.
За вікном плює немов він висоти, жно мить, коли зебі, відколи тебе знайшов. І я на небі, мов на земному небі, мила, коли з тобою літаю і знов, і знов. І я не знаю, як світанок настає, і як закінчився улюблений альбом, бо не бажаю ні хвилини самоти, і так живу, немов літаю я, так немов літаю я, кожну мить, коли зі мною ти. І я на небі, мила моя на небі, зоря моя на небі, відколи тебе знайшов. І я на небі, мов на земному небі, мила, коли з тобою літаю і знов, і знов. А часом, коли я сам не свій, і в голові дивні думки, і на душі сумно, згадую я очі твої, і все стає, мов навпаки, теплим таким. І я на небі, мила моя на небі, зоря моя на небі, відколи тебе знайшов. І я на небі, мов на земному небі, мила, коли з тобою літаю і знов, і знов. І я на небі, мила моя на небі, зоря моя на небі, відколи тебе на земному небі, мило, коли з тобою літаю і знов, літаю і знов, літаю і знов.
Сделай свой бизнес успешней. Телефон рекламного отдела медиацентра Slavic Family 971 238 46 87. 971 238 46 87.
Ти бачив, як заходить сонце? Чи ти коли-небудь бачив, як сідає сонце? Чи ти чув, як літають бджоли? Чи ти коли-небудь чув, як літають бджоли? Різниця тільки в тому, чи ти дійсно жив, чи ні. Бо якщо ти не чув і не бачив, тоді значить ні. Чи ти коли-небудь бачив, як пишуть книжку? Чи ти чув, як співають пісню? Чи ти коли-небудь чув, як співають пісню? Різниця тільки в тому, чи ти дійсно жив, чи ні. Бо якщо ти не чув і не бачив, тоді значить ні. Різниця тільки в тому, чи ти дійсно жив, чи ні. Бо якщо ти не чув і не бачив, тоді значить ні. Різниця тільки в тому, чи ти дійсно жив, чи ні. Бо якщо ти дивився і не бачив, тоді значить ні. Різниця тільки в тому, чи ти вічно жив, чи ні. Бо якщо ти слухав і не чув, тоді значить ні.
You are listening to KXPD 1040 AM, Radio Slavic Family.
Хмарами льють дощі з твоїх
Світи, як сонце мені кожен день. Не хочу, щоб гуляла ти за хмарами. Грай мені, як гітара, бринь-бринь. Заправ мені борщ, як вмієш ти приправами. Куплю для тебе будь-яку стіну. Куплю тебе за будь-яку ціну. Де б не була, ти тебе зустріну. Захочеш, дозліплю тебе з пластиліну.
А де моя сонячна, сонячна? Ну де моя сонячна, сонячна? Чому затьмарена? Невже за хмарами льють дощі з твоїх очей? А де моя сонячна, сонячна? Ну де моя сонячна, сонячна? Чому затьмарена? Невже за хмарами льють дощі з твоїх очей? Не бачу яскравих речей, не хочу зіркових ночей, не чую, як річка тече, коли лє дощ з твоїх очей.
Зібрались на тобі, бачу барви листопада, як ти поряд, то жара, неначе сонце палить. З пекарні йдемо хліб, підриваємо гарячий, а на здачу зорі прокладати дому шлях. Я пам'ятаю ніч, як же ти дивилась вічі, відчиняючи душу, знає, це звучить як кіч. Що мені твоїм піймав? І знову я цю лірику посвячую одній.
Моя сонячна, сонячна, ну де моя сонячна, сонячна? Чому затьмарена? Невже за хмарами льють дощі з твоїх очей? А де моя сонячна, сонячна? Ну де моя сонячна, сонячна? Чому затьмарена? Невже за хмарами льють дощі з твоїх очей?
Шановні слухачі, ваші приймачі на вірних хвилях.
Клиника Interstate Medical Group – это лидер по восстановлению здоровья. Звоните по номеру 503 760 07 78. Клиника расположена в удобных для вас местах. Портленд, Ванкувер, Сейлем.
Добрый день, дорогие наши радиослушатели. Как обычно в это время по средам, если вы нас слушаете и смотрите в прямом эфире, то мы действительно в прямом эфире после 3 часов дня. Если вы нас слушаете и смотрите в другое время, то значит мы в записи, и тоже мы очень полезны. Мы Interstate Medical Group. И я напомню, что Interstate Medical Group представляет услуги в реабилитации после автоаварии, рабочих травм, болей в суставах, боли колена, боли плеча, DOT, хронические головные боли, лазерная терапия, ручной массаж, декомпрессия позвонка, турманевая терапия, солевая терапия и много-много другое. И Interstate Medical Group расположена в очень удобных местах в городах Портленд, Ванкувер, Сейлем и Сакраменто. Вы можете звонить по телефону 503 760 07 78 503 760 0778. И у нас сегодня в прямом эфире доктор Джеймс Кристи, который является доктором-хиропрактиком именно в офисе, который расположен в Портленде на Division и 172. Как всегда, нам будет помогать Константин. И сегодня у нас в программе очень и очень важные темы. Во-первых, мы будем сегодня говорить о DOT-тесте, о том, что это такое и как он проводится. И, конечно, мы будем говорить также сегодня о проблемах после автомобильных аварии. Добро пожаловать, доктор Джеймс Кристи, Константин, и сегодня у нас будет очень интересная программа. Я прошу вначале напомнить немножечко о себе, доктор Кристи.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. James Christie at the Portland Interstate Medical Group. I would like to start off with a very important statement. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Sunday is a very special day, and God bless all you moms.
Всем добрый день, я доктор Джеймс Кристи, и прежде всего я хочу поздравить всех матерей с наступающим Днем Матери, который будет в это воскресенье.
Ну и я думаю, что мы все вместе можем поздравить не только с Днем Матери, но и еще с одним таким замечательным праздником, который будет после этого. Это День поминовения, День памяти, но этот день в Америке считается официальным днем начала лета. Это значит, что мы будем очень и очень часто пользоваться автотранспортом, будем чаще ездить на пикники, на шашлыки. И, увы, вот в этот момент, в эти моменты, когда мы полны радости, случаются эти вот неприятности, аварии.
So we are expected to drive more during the holidays, and unfortunately, sometimes when we go out to drive, accidents happen.
Yeah, with the nice weather, all of us welcome the sunny days. We're going to be commuting. Please drive safely. And with more miles on our car, unfortunately, some people do get affected by auto accidents.
Да, и в такую погоду, естественно, мы выбираемся на улице больше, садимся за руль, и если и случаются аварии, то, как обычно, это неизбежно в некоторых ситуациях.
And just be careful. Don't hinder your driving. It's best to get out to fresh air and enjoy yourselves. But if people are injured, it is best to get natural health care by a specialty musculoskeletal doctor professional like a chiropractor.
Будьте осторожны на дорогах, и если, к сожалению, авария случилась, то лучший подход – это естественный подход, например, такой, как визит к врачу-хиропрактику.
Yes, and insurance companies, if all Oregonian drivers are automatically covered as part of your own policy, and they give you a year to two to get well if that's what it takes. However, it's always best to start as soon after an injury as possible.
Если вы резидент штата Орегон, то ваша страховая компания по умолчанию выделяет вам средства на лечение, и у вас есть примерно год, чтобы начать лечение, но мы рекомендуем начать лечение как можно скорее.
It's always best to be evaluated by a chiropractic doctor the first day possible. If people wait and they wait longer than a month, the insurance may have questions about covering it, and it's also healthiest to be treated and receive physical therapy, chiropractic, and massage as soon as you can.
Настоятельно рекомендуем посетить врача-хиропрактика сразу же после аварии, желательно на следующий день. Это хорошо не только для вашего здоровья, но в том числе и для получения страховки страховой компании.
So be safe out there, enjoy the great weather, and enjoy the beach and the mountains.
Берегите себя, наслаждайтесь погодой, поезжайте в горы, на море, будьте осторожны.
Family time is most important.
Наиболее важное время с вашей семьей.
And also switching gears, for those of you who are DOT commercial truck drivers, I am a medical examiner, and Salem will be soon doing DOT examinations as well.
И меняя тему разговора, хочу упомянуть, что мы в клинике проводим DOT-экзамен, поэтому для тех из вас, кто является водителем грузовика, пожалуйста, приходите к нам, я лицензированный врач и могу провести этот экзамен.
We do accept walk-ins. However, it's always best, Lucha, to give us a call, schedule. We can make sure we can get you right in. It's about a 15-minute exam. You do every 2 years if you're a truck driver most of the time. And we're very efficient at it, and we'll get your certificate to you right away.
Вы, конечно, можете просто прийти в клинику во время наших рабочих часов. Мы открыты, но мы рекомендуем записаться на прием, чтобы мы точно знали, когда вас ожидать. Приходите на экзамен, наш сертификат, мы выдаем сертификат на 2 года, и сама процедура прохождения экзамена достаточно быстрая.
So if you'd like to schedule an examination for a medical exam for DOT truckers or any type of injury to your neck or back, please give us a call.
Если вы хотите назначить прием для DOT-экзамена или после аварии, пожалуйста, позвоните нам по телефону 503-760-0778. Это клиника в Портленде, также клиника в Сейлеме 503-339-7351.
All right. Now, there's a lot of health conditions that are effectively treated by chiropractic and massage that people may not be aware of.
Существует много состояний здоровья, которые лечатся врачом-хиропрактиком и профессиональным массажистом.
For example, Golova headaches are most commonly 90% come from neck tension.
Как правило, 90% головных болей происходит из-за травм шеи.
The nerves, the sensory nerves that come from the head and behind the eyes go into where the neck is and connect to the spine.
Ваши нервы, которые находятся за глазами, они проходят в шею и напрямую связаны с позвоночником.
So generalized tension, working on computers for many hours, driving for many hours, the neck needs to be loosened and restore normal motion and function.
Функции шеи могут быть восстановлены, если провести корректировку, так как многие из нас работают за компьютером, проводят много времени за рулем, поэтому, чтобы снять напряжение, мы рекомендуем посетить врача-хиропрактика.
And using the combination of chiropractic adjustments with massage therapy works synergistically and helps each other for the best possible results.
И чтобы достичь наилучших результатов, мы рекомендуем комплексную терапию, поэтому визит к врачу-хиропрактику замечательно сочетается с визитом к массажисту.
And then, like headaches, chiropractic and massage is effective to treat pain between the shoulder blades, neck pain.
Визит к врачу-хиропрактору поможет вам избавиться от боли в шее или же от боли в спине между лопатками.
Low back pain.
Поясница.
And some people get experience shooting pain or numbness and tingling down their arms or legs from their neck or low back.
В связи с проблемами в шее многие люди испытывают стреляющую боль в руках или же онемение рук.
Chiropractic adjustments loosen and lessen the pressure on the nerves between the spine.
Корректировка у хиропрактика снижает давление в позвоночнике между нервами и позвонками.
The patient will feel immediate loosening, less tension.
Пациент сразу же чувствует облегчение.
Less pain.
Меньше боли.
And having a thorough treatment plan can typically restore normal function.
И наиболее важно то, что, имея план лечения,